Hello there everyone, and welcome to the next episode of 15 Minutes of Discovery, and in which case this is actually going to be 15 minutes. Apart from our usual pattern of walking around trying to find roleplay interactions in various houses, today I want to talk about a small little topic that I really wanted to make a thread about on Discovery forums, but I kind of withheld that because I was pretty sure that it would get locked or flamed or something along those lines. And this is about the interaction between not only factions. It's a really nice base they're making, actually. Between factions, but also between factions and independents. The thing is, do you know what the hell is wrong with this whole situation right now? Let me talk about stagnation. Stagnation is that the same person becomes the main face of a faction. That never should happen, because every individual has his friends and has his enemies. So what happens is that if you put someone at the head of the faction, who is always the head of the faction, there will be out of roleplay hate. I'm not saying that there is any kind of way to avoid this fully, because out of roleplay hate is always going to exist on a multiplayer server, but this is really going too far. I mean, right now I'm addressing the faction leaders. Guys, what is the essential part of your faction? The people who are inside a faction. They are the guys that makes your faction a faction. They are the guys that give roleplay, and the only thing you're supposed to do is not only attract them with possibilities, but also make sure that your faction stays a roleplay friendly environment for those people. This is the only way you will get any kind of activity. And now remember this, you as an official faction need to set a prime example of your faction's roleplay. And I'm not talking only about the in-game actions, the ones that are based on roleplay, but also out of roleplay ones. Now please just look at what is happening right now. I'm just quickly going to show the example between the Red Hessians and the Rhineland military. I'm not exactly sure what happened there. I contacted both Blodo and Anne, and the guys more or less gave their own versions. But I really want to tell you both that right now I understand that this is a holy war between faction leaders with little to no roleplay initiative. But there are a ton of people in your faction that want no part of this. I'm also in the Rhineland military. I don't want to log on my character only to be instantly killed by Red Hessians, and at the same time I'm pretty sure that no Red Hessian players want to get ganked by hundreds of RNC decies. So guys, step away from the computer for a bit and think about what the hell you're doing right now, because you're not toying with your own little squabbles. You're actually influencing the game experience for all of these people in your factions. And you, as a faction leader, need to not only provide good interaction for your players, but also for the faction members of the opposing factions. What the hell you guys are thinking right now, I have no idea, but this has to stop. Apart from that, I can name quite a few actually, situations when out of roleplay hate like this has resulted in either faction disband or something along those lines. Oh look, another guy going to build a base. Whoop-de-doo. So, what I'm saying is that I talk to these guys, so I try to find a compromise And apparently the only thing that they could suggest is, like, if he steps down, I will stop being a dick. Okay, how about this? As I said, stagnation is a bad thing, and this is why, when I was creating my own groups, we tend to cycle the faction leadership onto existing members, no matter what rank they are, no matter what experience they have, but cycling through members and giving them a chance to lead the faction, drive the faction their own way, is in fact an essential part of keeping the faction fresh. And also, about stagnation is that I understand that having a faction is a big deal, that it's your work, it's your roleplay. I myself have led the rogues for a while, and the amount of work I put in the Liberty rogues at the time was really more than I could afford, actually, and it did bite me in the back in real life. But the thing is, I know how hard it is to simply step down from being a faction leader. So even more, I would like to tell these people to simply considering this. If you see that your faction is dying, if your faction does not really have as much activity as it used to be, if people don't want to fly under your flag anymore, swallow your pride and disband the faction. Because I realize it's really hard to understand this, but it's no real it's no secret that every faction has a few smaller groups, unofficial factions. And you might be saying, oh well, but I'm dedicated to my faction, right? You're wrong. If you were dedicated to your faction, you would give others a chance, because it's hard to understand this, but they too are the same guys as you are, who have tons of ideas they would like to implement, but currently, with our current rule updates, it's not possible to implement them, only because we have one official faction per ID. And I still have no idea why they made that way. I think it was something about technology allowance or something. It still was a retarded idea back then, still is a retarded idea back now. But still, I mean, you should give other players a chance. I understand that you as a faction member or a faction leader, you've done so much for your faction to build it. You've spent hours on writing roleplay, and you've made a lot of roleplay influence that still are there, but that's the point. It's not like if you disband the faction and allow someone else to try to, it's not like all of your hard work will just disappear. If you were a good faction leader, and if you've done your job well, then if you do leave the faction or give someone else a chance, your work will not simply vanish overnight. That's the one thing I really don't... What the hell? It's all pink. Ugh. Damn. This looks fugly. Actually, this looks so fugly, I forgot what I was going to say something about things. Now, now that I'm kind of done with this little rant, I'm going to quickly tell you that I'm not the kind of, you know, official factions suck and something like that. I myself have been in many official factions, and I have an equal amount of independent players, independent characters, I mean, and I understand what independents see in official factions, why they really don't like them as much, and I see why official factions sometimes look down on independents. But the point is that you really need to control what you do. You need to know when to stop. Roleplay on this server is kinda delicate, and it really goes on as long as you want it to go on. And if you just stay still like this, it's not really going to do any good. Outcasts, Corsairs. So my suggestions for the current RNC and I mean RM Red Hessian thing, both faction leaders and their helpers need to swallow their pride, get together and simply talk this over. Because I'm pretty sure that neither of you will want to kind of give way for the other one. And I'm pretty sure that it's like I gank you and you will instantly gank me, and obviously you can say that, well, I don't care, I will get ganked, it's going to bring activity to my faction, but I really doubt that all of your faction members are going to agree with that. I really don't. So what I suggest is simply either give someone else a chance until you cool off, or outright simply make a room on Skype and simply talk things over. Heck, oh god. Oh no! Oh, it's Monty. Oh, it's Killer and Monty. Fuck that. Do not want. Anyway, as I was saying, these are the few topics I really want to discuss while I have the chance, while I'm flying around, and if you think that you could contribute a proper topic, more or less like a talk show, then be my guest. I can host a Skype call while I'm flying and recording these things, and having someone to discuss these little topics with would be a very nice thing. I would love to have a player who mainly plays independent characters and a player who mainly plays faction characters. I can be the guy who is between, more or less, and you can simply see and give the viewers a good example of valid information about why does this bother you, or why does that bother you, or you know, kind of like that. Well, I suppose this, like, today's 15 minutes of disco ain't exactly as fun, because, well, what exactly did I do? I went off from New Berlin, flew to Alpha, saw guys, and flew back, so... oh well, might as well do something. Oy, this looks horrible. Whose idea was this, seriously? I look at this, it's like, oh, looks fugly. Really, really ugly. Oh, but obviously that one's looted. I suppose let's stop over here, and hopefully my reputation with the outcast is good enough to dock here, and it is. Being freelancer rocks. Dock where you want. Also, a small note to the devs. The arrow has only 20 units of cargo space, and usually the Mark 8 armor grade actually took up 20 units, so right now we can only mount a MK7, which is, well, actually, well, never mind. It actually is a good armor upgrade, but still kind of feels odd. Okay, so this kind of ends my little rant today. Well, so much for that. Cheers, and stay tuned for more updates if you're actually interested.